When I close my eyes, I have you in my heart.
A line from Lucrezia's letters?
Yes, Lam. This intense sentiment is from a letter written by Lucrezia Borgia to her lover, Pietro Bembo. Just imagine being in that vibrant era of the Italian Renaissance, writing these passion-filled letters clandestinely.
True, their love has outlived time, enchanting readers and history enthusiasts alike. Their letters, a testament to their unbounded love.
Indeed, their secret love letters left an authentic record of their emotions. A passionate, yet illicit affair whispered through the quill across parchment.
Their words lingering, echoing past the centuries. However, at the same time, they couldn't fully express their love in the open because of the societal constraints they were bound by. That must have been incredibly hard.
Yes, Lam. The confines of social norms did curtain their love, but they didn't let it smother their affections. Their words were their sanctuary, where they found freedom, a poignant and untarnished expression of their unconventional love. The Italian Renaissance, in all its grandeur, couldn't contain the depth of their emotions. When in Rome.
You sense the whisperings of the Italian Renaissance, Hazel?
Absolutely, Lam, you step back in time. The Italian Renaissance, spanning from the 14th to the 17th century, was so unique. It was an era of rebirth, cascading the seeds of intellectualism and artistic expression. It marked the transition from the medieval to the modern world.
But I assume, Hazel, it was much more than artistic breakthroughs in humanistic philosophy.
Oh, definitely. It was an era of grandeur, hosting a myriad of complex social, cultural, and political facets. Let's paint a picture. Human beings, for the first time, were at the center of the universe. Think grand and ornate palaces, majestic churches, sculptures, manuscripts.
And these contributions were essentially funded by the European nobility, right?
Yes, true. Rich patrons like the Medici family supported artists, philosophers, and writers. This patronage was a significant aspect of the Renaissance, fostering creativity, intellect, and cultural expansion.
And with this transformation, new perspectives on love and relationships evolved?
Exactly, Lim. Love was no longer a mere contract. Now it was an emotional, passionate experience. People started to seek companionship in marriage, not just politics. And amidst this evolving, progressive era, our protagonists, Lucrezia Borgia and Pietro Bembo, attempted to navigate their romance. However, even in this lush era, their love was shackled since they belonged to the upper echelons of the society, where societal boundaries were strict.
What a contrasting world, with love seeking freedom and society dressed in a golden age.
Absolutely. An aura of revolution entwined with a heartbreaking love story, making it uniquely epical.
That paints a vivid picture. From grand architecture to a forbidden love, the Italian Renaissance indeed carries a captivating narrative.
Lucrezia Borgia and Pietro Bembo's tale start in an unlikely place, a place symbolic of Rome's grandeur, the Vatican.
They first met in Vatican City?
Exactly, Lame. To visualize, imagine the stately papal apartment, drenched in opulence, perhaps a glimpse of Da Vinci's work adorning an untouched corner.
And Lucrezia, a woman of high societal stature, a woman both celebrated and vilified, meets Pietro Bembo, a charismatic and intelligent scholar, right?
Yes, Bembo, who was later to become a cardinal, was first introduced to Lucrezia in 1502. Despite being married and the daughter of a pope, Lucrezia was open to the art of courtly love.
If I'm not wrong, courtly love was quite common back then among the nobility?
True that, Lum. It was almost customary for individuals, especially married women of the aristocracy, to have a courtly lover. These relationships were purely platonic and filled with poetic exchanges.
However, their love went beyond courtly, I believe.
Pietro was smitten by Lucrezia's beauty and sophistication from their first encounter, composing poems dedicated to her. Their intellectual compatibility and mutual admiration evolved rapidly into a deep, more personal affection.
And interestingly, their love attempted to flourish amidst the majestic architecture of Renaissance Rome and tranquil beauty of Venetian canals. I can almost envision Pietro, under the moonlit Venice sky, penning passionate verses for Lucrezia.
Indeed, Lamb, their poignant love story, beautifully weaves through the tapestry of this vibrant era. They dared to love when restrictions were rigorous, shaping an unorthodox narrative of romance within the radiant facades of Renaissance Venice and Rome. Lucrezia Borgia, a name that has resonated across centuries, often shrouded in riddles and controversy.
Lucrezia Borgia was quite a prominent figure in history, was she not?
Indeed, Lamb, a woman of high societal status, the daughter of Pope Alexander VI. She was both celebrated and vilified. She was widely known for her beauty, intelligence, and more notoriously, her controversial reputation.
There are quite a number of conjectures and theories surrounding her life story, it seems.
Absolutely, Lamb. Society sought to vilify her. Rumours circulated about her alleged nefarious activities, and her name was sullied by scandalous tales, some say, propagated by her own family for political gain. However, amidst these marred narratives, her intellect and grace stand as an undeniable testament to her spirit.
These controversies, I presume, had a lot to do with her marriages.
Yes, Lamb. Lucrezia was thrice married. Her first marriage, arranged for political convenience, was when she was merely 13. However, her husband's alliance was no longer beneficial to the Borgias, and consequently, they soon sought an annulment. Rumours suggested that her family propagated the story of the marriage being unconsummated, which gave cause for the annulment. Lucrezia's second marriage, at 18, to Alfonso of Aragon, was a strategic decision that strengthened the Borgias' alliances. But unfortunately, her husband was murdered, allegedly by her brother Cesare, once their alliance outlived its usefulness. Her final marriage to Alfonso d'Este, the Duke of Ferrara, endured till her untimely death, and proved to be more stable, though it wasn't free from trials.
Her life seems a stark portrayal of the societal constraints and political scheming of that era. A woman caught up in a whirlwind of power and politics. Thriving amidst the shifting chessboard of power dynamics, Pietro Bembo was a compelling personality in his own right. His primary role, apart from being a scholar and a poet, was that of a cardinal.
Yes, and I imagine that brought with it a peculiar set of pressures. Not only was he in a spotlight because of his association with Lucrezia, but also his position within the church.
Undeniably, Hazel. As a cardinal, Bembo was bestowed with high social respect and was expected to lead a life of piety and abstinence. However, his profound romantic yearning for Lucrezia became a contentious point, contradicting the church's expectations and societal norms.
One could only imagine the psychological turmoil he would have experienced. Living under the watchful eyes of the church, carry such affection for a woman who was equally watched and scrutinized.
Indeed, his love for Lucrezia could easily have been perceived as compromising his duty to the church. Yet it is moving how strongly he cared for her. His reverence for her went beyond mere flirtation. In their discreet letters, amid the grand poetic tributes, one can find glimpses of his longing for her, piercing through the strictly virtuous facade.
With their love condemned by societal norms and his duty to the church, it's thought-provoking how he managed this intricate balance.
The line he walked was a delicate one, Hazel. As a cardinal, Bembo was careful to manifest his feelings in an intellectual manner, ensuring his reputation remained untainted, while also giving vent to his emotions. His words, though careful, echoed with an underlying passion, revealing the struggle between his responsibilities and his heart's deepest desires.
That's quite heartbreaking. It's a testament, I think, to the lengths one can go to maintain a forbidden love, especially in a society that had such rigid norms.
Yes, Hazel. Despite the challenging circumstances, Bembo's yearning for Lucrezia was both fervent and discreet. Living in an era of great societal restrictions, their hidden love story offers a poignant insight into the resilient human spirit that longs for love, no matter the cost.
To my eyes, heaven is less fantastic than your beauty. Can you guess whose passionate words are these, Lum?
Well, knowing the flow of our topic today, it seems like they may have been penned by Pietro Bembo.
Absolutely. To delve deeper into their epistolary love, we can observe some particularly eloquent sentences that speak volumes about the profound love they held for one another. Consider this, for instance. Our souls, dear lady, are joined together so tightly that no man can pull them apart. Pietro wrote these lines to Lucrezia, revealing a connection that went beyond simple courtly love.
Their correspondence was truly a revelation of their devotion. It intrigues me, though. Were their letters more about their love, or was it intertwined with their roles in society?
It was, no doubt, an intricate mix of both, certainly striking a balance between their intense feelings and the subtle anxieties, fear of exposure they lived with. The words were embroidered with such delicate whispers of affection and intimate alliances.
Almost like a forbidden dance, right? On one hand, expressing their feelings fully would endanger both their reputations, and on the other, suppressing them would be denying themselves the freedom to love. Quite a predicament.
Yes, and the letters became their sanctuary, an escape. In words they found a refuge to express their intimacy, bringing them closer, and for moments, making them forget about the rigorous life they were bound by.
Must have been a solace for them in their challenging lives. It makes me think about how love always finds its way, doesn't it?
Indeed it does. And you know, sometimes amidst such adversities love only grows stronger. Despite societal bindings, their letters depict a timeless love, a testament to their devotion that spreads across the veils of adversity. While we've been making our way through the romantic rollercoaster between Lucrezia Borgia and Pietro Bembo, context is key. Understanding the societal landscape of their time surely adds depth to their intricate dance of love. Lum, what comes to your mind when thinking about cultural norms during the Italian Renaissance?
It was a period of flourishing art, architectural revolutions, and philosophical intrigue, Hazel. However, societal norms were still entwined with traditional values which could be restrictive, especially for women like Lucrezia Borgia. This contrast of a burgeoning society stifled by Morse is fascinating.
These complexities made women's existence a balance between societal constraints and personal desires for freedom. Lucrezia was no exception. She was a woman of power, intellect, and beauty. Yet she was almost imprisoned within societal expectations. Her marriages were political stratagems rather than personal choices.
Coming from a different perspective, I marvel at the courage Lucrezia and Pietro exhibited, maintaining their forbidden connection amidst such societal constraints. How do you think their clandestine love changed Borgia and Bembo's perception of freedom and restrictions?
In their letters, one can't help but notice how they never explicitly defied societal norms, but their actions spoke volumes. Their relationship was their own universe, free from societal constraints. Yet the reality was far from this utopia they had constructed, as if holding a mirror to the duality of cultural ideals in that era.
Would you say this duality acted as both a catalyst and restraint for their love?
One might argue so. It almost felt like they were silently rebelling against the societal norms, while knowing the repercussions that could follow. The dichotomy of freedom and constraints laid the canvas upon which their tragic yet alluring love story was painted.
As we delve into the forbidden nature of Lucrezia and Pietro's love, it's important to decipher the societal landscapes. In the vibrant era of the Renaissance known for its grandeur, it's intriguing how the norms nonetheless painted boundaries for emotional expanse.
Indeed. One can sense the societal taboos hovering over their secret love affair, but what's more striking is their audacity to step across these boundaries and etch a world of their own.
Their courage isn't without consequences. There's a silent narrative in their love letters indicating the perils of breaching the societal limitations. Imagine your personal desires being labeled as forbidden Couple that thought with the Renaissance's opulence juxtaposed with conservative values. Quite a culture clash, don't you think, Hazel?
Absolutely, Lam. It's like a spectacular dance on a treacherous precipice. The beauty of their love intertwined with societal adversities. Their affair defied norms, subtly challenging and enduring the stench of scandal.
So you could say the societal walls were daunting yet fluid for our lovers. Remember this quote from one of their secret letters? Though shackled by public considerations, our hearts remain at large. They were prisoners of the societal outlook, yet their yearning for each other remained unchained.
A glaring instance of the warring dichotomy between societal acceptance and personal longing. Even in the era that celebrated individualism through art and philosophy, personal choices were shrouded in societal judgments.
This incongruence within the society and their story makes it all the more striking. To witness how their love transcended the defined norms is quite a journey on its own.
Absolutely. For Pietro and Lucrezia, their love story stood as a quiet rebellion in the face of obvious societal disapproval. Politics of the era permeated every facet of life, casting a shadow over Pietro and Lucrezia's love.
Couldn't the politics of the era also provide them a cover, allowing them to maintain their discreet romance?
Yes, Lum, it's a paradox. While the power dynamics of the time were oppressive, they also provided a convenient cover for their affair. Lucrezia, a desired political pawn in her own right, was married off thrice for political gains.
Marriage for her became a duty rather than based on personal desires.
Tragically true. In spite of her personal feelings, Lucrezia had to navigate the intricate webs of power and deceit. Along the side, the romance that bloomed with Pietro perhaps offered her an oasis amidst this political desert.
Pietro, in his own right, faced the challenge of his religious stature as cardinal. How did they find solace amidst this turmoil?
In my opinion, they found solace in each other, in the written words they exchanged under the noses of their watchful contemporaries. Maybe love can bloom amidst hostile politics, defying the crushing weight of a society consumed by power.
How about Renaissance art, Hazel? It was as splendid and grand as Lucrezia and Pietro's romance.
Indeed, Lum. The Renaissance, known for its magnificent art, is a testament to human emotion.
Certainly. Could you draw parallels between their romance and the art of their time?
Well, one could think of their romance in terms of the painting, The Birth of Venus by Botticelli.
Interesting. How so?
Much like Venus, who symbolized beauty and love, emerging gracefully from a clamshell. Lucrezia and Pietro's romance blossomed even in the most challenging circumstances. It gives off an air of spiritual purity, akin to the painting.
I see. Like Venus in her natural state, their love too was raw and pure.
Exactly, Lum. Additionally, The Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch provides another example of this period of contrasts, its intricate detail mirroring the hidden complexity of their relationship.
In what way do you think this piece reflects their relationship?
In this triptych, Bosch paints scenes of heaven and hell, of joy and sorrow, of pleasure and punishment. It mirrors the duality Lucrezia and Pietro experienced, their love, a heaven in the midst of the hellish political landscape.
Such insights truly expose the intersection of love and Renaissance art. Their romance found articulation not only in the words they exchanged, but also in the masterpieces of their era.
What if? Such a simple question can open doors to a million possibilities. What if society had accepted Lucrezia and Pietro's love story?
It's a fascinating question, Hazel. What could have been, right?
Absolutely. What if they had been free to express their love openly, without the restraints of societal norms and pressures?
I wonder if Pietro would have continued his duties as a cardinal, or if their relationship would have called him to a different path.
Or perhaps their relationship would have become an accepted norm, influencing the societal protocols of the time. Maybe they would have shown a path for love to flourish freely amidst the depth of power, politics, and religion.
Maybe fashion, art, and literature would have been shaped differently. Their open love could have inspired further Renaissance artists to create works that celebrated love in all its forms.
And if Lucrezia was free from political marriages, could she have used her influence in other progressive ways for women?
Perhaps she could have propelled a significant movement for women's rights in the Renaissance society.
While we may never know the full extent of what could have been, these are intriguing food for thought. Meanwhile, their clandestine romance stands as a testimony to love's tenacity against societal norms. In your soul and in your body, you hold and show traces of a heavenly spirit. That's the beauty of Pietro Bembo's words, L'Homme. One can barely contain the emotion he must have felt daring to write those lines to Lucrezia. He was a cardinal, risking his reputation and his future.
Remarkable indeed. His devotion for Lucrezia, hidden within these letters, was so strong that he was willing to risk it all. Exceptionally brave, don't you think?
Absolutely, Lam. But let's not underestimate Lucrezia's courage here. Despite the societal shackles and multiple marriages dictated by political convenience, she ventured into this clandestine love affair, matching Bembo's fervour word for word, page by page.
Can you tell us more about the nature of their correspondence, Hazel?
Certainly, Lum. They penned their deepest desires knowing the dangerous gamble they were playing. Yet the longing was etched in every carefully chosen word, each metaphor and analogy. From admiring each other's intellect to expressing their illicit longing, their letters were an extension of their emotions. Consider this excerpt from one of Lucrezia's letters. Your words fill my heart and soul with a fondness so profound I cannot choose but yield.
Their secret love endured through words. They managed to create their own universe within the confines of written correspondence. But their affair also had a wider impact, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Their forbidden love story, shrouded in secrecy and danger, became the epitome of a timeless love narrative against societal norms and political pressures. Even in modern times, their letters are a testament to this everlasting passion that defied all odds. Let's talk legacy, Lum. What impact do you think Lucrezia Borgia and Pietro Bembo's love story left on the Italian society back then, and how it resonates with us today?
Well, Hazel, the love story of Lucrezia and Pietro resonates even till today due to its timeless narrative. It's worth reminding our audience that their story, although lost in time, has not been forgotten. As a matter of fact, the forbidden love, the societal norms they challenged, that's something that a lot of people across eras can connect with. Even now, many romances in literature and television depict the allure of forbidden love, drawing parallel to their tale.
Oh, that's an interesting perspective. We see that in so many Romeo and Juliet type stories, don't we? The taboo, almost illicit nature of their relationship, it adds a level of thrill and excitement. Audiences then and now seem to be attracted to this idea of love tested against all odds.
Exactly, Hazel. You're right. Such narratives have an enduring charm. And it's not only in terms of their relationship. I think people find a certain fascination with characters like Lucrezia, who are historically complex and have so many layers to their persona.
Indeed, as someone working on a book myself, I find these historical characters hold immense potential for storytelling. They're real, flesh and blood human beings, with their virtues and their complexities. But do you think this romanticization of such stories shape our understanding of history, Lam?
Yes, Hazel, I find it very likely. We tend to look at history through the lens of stories. These narratives, especially the romantic ones, they influence our perception of that era. We come to understand the customs, societal norms, even the politics of the time through such stories.
That's quite thought-provoking, Lum. These historical accounts carry in them a lesson that transcends time and geographical boundaries. Love, in all its forms, passionate, forbidden, tragic, it's a universal language that echoes through centuries, speaking volumes about the values of the societies that create them.
Well put, Hazel. And while these stories from the past may carry a cultural and historical distance, the fundamental emotion of love that they capture, its complexity, the yearning, the pain, the joy, it continues to connect and resonate with audiences till today.
As we come to the closing chapter of this episode, I can't help but reflect on the love story of Lucrezia Borgia and Pietro Bembo. It was truly a rebellion against societal norms.
Quite a throwback to their era, right, Hazel? The breathtaking Italian Renaissance, a period imbued with art, culture, and philosophy.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine the grandeur of Venice and Rome at that time, nurturing their love as they navigated through their societal roles. It must have been a spectacle to witness. Despite the societal constraints, their forbidden love blossomed amidst the eloquence of their love letters and the secrecy of their affair.
And let's not forget the political pressures that they had to endure. Bembo's duty as a cardinal on one side, and his deep affection for Lucrezia on the other. A rather difficult life, one could say.
Indeed, their love story wasn't just about the two of them. It was also about the time and society they were a part of. Like you mentioned, the formidable political pressures, Borgia's politically motivated marriages, and societal norms. These factors made their relationship even more challenging.
That's right. Their love story did have it all: drama, emotion, societal taboos. It's fascinating how they still managed to love each other while being torn apart by societal expectations.
And that's what makes their story timeless. In spite of various constraints, they celebrated their love in their own unique way, enriching the grand canvas of the Italian Renaissance. Couldn't help but wonder, how different would their story be if society was more accepting? It's a provocative thought, yet so deeply ingrained in their narrative. So the seesaw of their hushed love continued, until eventually reaching a silent end. Yet their love echoed through time, resonating with love stories yet to be written.
A love that survived through eloquently written sonnets and letters, an enduring symbol of timeless love unparalleled in history. Hazel, do you recall the sonnet by Bembo dedicated to Lucrezia?
I guess the sonnet that ignites an understanding of their love that outlived their earthly bodies. It reads, "With merry heart, with jubilant soul, I thank, O divine beauty, the heavens that brought you to my world. As long as heavens remain, you will be my desire."
Surely an exquisite testament of a love sculpted by time, etching patterns rarely seen. Their story hence finds resonance in the modern era, encapsulating emotions, traumas, and societal norms that are as relative today as they were in the lush period of Italian Renaissance.
Beautiful words, Lum. As we walk back to the present era, leaving the Italian Renaissance behind, we ponder upon the constraints, struggles, and ultimately, the potency of timeless love that still enchants our world.